Hey everyone, and welcome to Newegg TV. My name is Paul, and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and overview of this Rosewill RGB80 multicolor LED backlit mechanical keyboard. Here's a quick look at the retail box, and just wanted to point out really quickly, since this is a brand new product from Rosewill, the software is still in development. Now it does ship with fully functional software, however, although you do see 16.8 million color combinations with the RGB LED backlights, right now it's only going to have up to 228 colors available. However, they will be doing a future software update, so that will enable an additional set of colors. Also, this picture on the front is representing different colors that it can do, and it cannot necessarily do the rainbow look for right now. But that being said, flipping around to the back, some of the actual features that we can see here, some specific areas of the keyboard that are being pointed out, such as the arrow keys over here for Q, W, E, A, S, D, as well as the function buttons that are up here. Now, the reason these are pointed out is because they've provided some clear switches that you can swap in there, and I'll show you those. They look very nice with the LED backlight. Also, function keys can be accessed via the function button, which is down there at the bottom. And then you also have some adjustments such as the backlight, as well as N key and 6 key rollover functions. And then you also have a gaming mode that can disable the Windows key. Over on the right side, there's some additional features. For instance, they have rubberized the surface of the keyboard itself, gives it a nice textured finish, gold-plated connections, and then again those 5 profile keys, and you can set up to 50 macro keys on the keyboard as well. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the box. Accessories include the cable, of course, which is, well, required in order to plug in the keyboard, but it is fully braided. It's 71 inches long. You have a micro USB on one side that plugs into the keyboard itself, and standard USB on the other side. These are gold-plated connectors, which doesn't necessarily help with signaling. However, gold plating can help reduce the chances of corrosion over time, so that's always nice to have. Also, you've got a ferrite core in there to prevent any interference. Apart from that, you have a keycap puller, which is a convenient entry since they have provided some additional keycaps, clear keycaps actually down here at the bottom. So you have Q, W, E, A, S, D, as well as up, down, left, and right arrows. They are labeled because you do want to use the appropriate keycap if you're replacing them, because they're contoured and they have the proper contour to replace the keycap that you might be swapping out on the keyboard. And I'll show you guys how those look with the LED lights as well in just a moment. Also, of course, you have your instruction manual here. It is in multiple languages, but here's the English side of it. It is well laid out. It will explain to you all of the functions, which I'm also going to do in just a moment, so I won't spend too much time on that. And the keyboard itself that you can see here, you might notice it's a bit shorter than a lot of standard keyboards. That's because it is 10 keyless. You do not have your numerical 10 keypad over there on the right side. Now that means for gamers you can keep your mouse hand a little bit closer to the keyboard, which is often very preferred. Also, it makes the keyboard a lot more portable. So 87 keys total. All keys use the mechanical switches, and they are the blue variety. They're actually Kale switches. So I'll be showing you guys those as well in just a moment. But the keyboard itself has a very nice rubberized textured finish. It goes all around the outside. It has a nice feel right over here on the edge where you have a little bit more textured indentations. Apart from that, again, backlit everywhere. You have some media control keys up here, such as volume and mute, as well as play forward and back, play pause. And then up here are your profile keys, so you can go profile 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and you can access that by hitting function and the profile key. Each of the profiles can be assigned with a specific color. And then over on the right side, you have this key up here in the very top right, which is the G mode, and that will simply disable the Windows key. So if you're gaming, you can turn that off so you don't accidentally mash the Windows key and take yourself out of whatever game you're playing. Also down here on the bottom, we have some function keys for turning the brightness level up and down. So you can go with the LEDs off, low light, full light, breathing mode, and then you can also set up some specific modes that will light up only keys that you would more specifically use for gaming. You also have LED backlights here for the G mode, caps lock, and scroll lock. Flipping over to the back, we can see we have some feet, of course, so you can give the keyboard a bit of a tilt if you prefer having more of a tilt, depending on, of course, your ergonomics and how you hold your hands. You also have rubber feet that you can provide some additional padding when the keyboard is actually sitting on the surface. And then they've improved the routing situation here for the actual cable. So you can see if I take my cable and plug it in like so, I can route the cable out there straight, and that will actually pop in there and hold it steady, and that will help keep the actual plug there from jiggling around. Or you can route it off to one side or the other, again depending on where your actual computer is and where you want to route that cable. Before I plug this in, I'm actually going to swap out some of these keycaps. So just to show you how that's done with the keycap puller, makes it very easy. Go ahead and set that keycap aside so you don't lose it. I'm going to swap in a clear one here, but first let's take a look at the switch itself. As you can see, it is colored blue, although these are not of the certain fruit-flavored variety that you might be a little bit familiar with if you're into mechanical keyboards. These are actually Kailh switches. That's K-A-I-L-H. So that is a relatively new company. It's been making mechanical switches, however. It has a very, very distinct feel, and it will be very similar to blue switches from other switch manufacturers. You also have the LED right there behind it, and again RGB, which is going to allow you to do all of those different color combinations. The blue switches have both a click as well as a bit of a tactile feedback bump, so you can kind of hear the clicky sound that it makes right there, and it does give you a bit of feedback as you're bottoming out the switch, so it gives you a very nice feel. And of course, mechanical switches are also extremely sturdy, particularly when compared to rubber dome switch counterparts. So there you can see I've swapped in the W, which gives you a look at the blue through that, and it's also going to shine through with the other colors. Once we get this plugged in, of course. So I'm going to swap out the rest of these, and while I do that, just a few more specs as far as the dimensions and weight goes. This is actually 5.3 inches long, 14.6 inches wide, and 1.1 inches high. So that's kind of your dimensions. I'm moving on to the E switch right here. And then as far as the weight of this keyboard, it is 2.2 pounds. And now the RGB80 has been plugged in and it's lit up, and as you can see, it's going for blue right now, but I've replaced all the clear keycaps over here and over here, so for your directional arrows as well as Q, W, S, D, A, and all those good ones over there. Let me demonstrate some of the function buttons. So with function down here, you can push that and access the different profiles. So right now I'm on profile 1. Profile 2, we'll switch to profile 2's color, and you can assign a color for each of the profiles, of course. Profile 3 gives me a more whitish hue, a bit of a whitish green. Profile 4 is a bit more straight up green, and Profile 5, I believe I set to a nice sort of a purplish pink color, which is quite pleasant. Apart from that, again, G mode is currently enabled, so you got the G LED right over there, and we can simply hit the function to turn that on or off. Again, that just enables or disables the Windows button over there. And then we have the N key rollover function. So N key will allow you to press as many keys on the keyboard as you want to at the same time. However, that's not always compatible depending on your operating system. So you can also go to 6-key rollover mode again by hitting function button and either the N key or the 6 key. And then also on the lower right here, it's not quite as easy to see because I've replaced these keycaps, but you have the ability to control the light. So right now I can switch the lights off if you're going to go to sleep or something like that. We can go to a more dim mode. We can go to brighter mode. One more will enable a sort of a soft fading in and out of the color, and it kind of takes a moment there, but you'll see it kind of dim out very slowly, and then it comes back on, which gives it a pretty cool look. And then if we go up one more, we go into gaming mode, or at least one of the 2 gaming modes, and that's just going to light up your directional keys here, as well as the profile modes up there. And then we can go one more up there, and that will enable a few more of the gaming mode buttons, such as your modifier keys over here, as well as your number keys up there across at the top. Now there's a couple more functions this can do, but before I get into that, let's take a look at the software. And here's a look at the software. As you can see, it's got the full keyboard layout, and it's 10 key list. So first off, let's start with selecting a profile here, and then you can actually choose an individual key, and that will enable some of the functions down here on the lower left. So for instance, you can change the assignment of the key if you really want to, although that might be a little bit confusing. You can also do macros, so there's a macro recorder built in here. You can record and stop and start the recording, set up delay and repeat times, as well as some additional advanced macro functions, which is pretty nice. You can also assign a specific key to launch a program, so by doing this you can simply choose the program you want it to launch. You can also disable a key, which also might be useful in certain circumstances, I imagine, or you can go back to default, which is nice that they've added that in case you've forgotten which letters are which. Another cool feature that you have here is actually the ability to sync a program with a specific profile. So by clicking Sync Program, you can choose the program, and when you launch that program, it will automatically engage whatever profile you have chosen. which is also a nice bit of functionality. You can also export or import your settings if you've saved them and you want to reload them. And I do want to point out that the keyboard has memory built in, which means that when you save them, it will save it directly to the keyboard, which means if you switch over to a different computer or something like that, then you will still be totally good to go, and you don't necessarily need to load up the software unless you're reconfiguring things. Now let's talk about color settings. That's down here with the LED settings. So you can go in here and assign a different color to each profile. And again, right now it's limited to about 220 some colors, but eventually you have up to 16.8 million that are available. But here's the color selector. And then apart from that, you can also do a few different functions. So turn the LEDs off. Single color is right now. You can do single dimming, which is equivalent to that dimming function that I already showed you that's available on the keyboard. Bear in mind, at least with the current version of the software, these are global settings. So if you choose single color, it will be single color for all 5 profiles. If you do dimming, it will be dimming for all 5 profiles. Or you have a cool color loop functionality, which will enable a dimming, as well as it will cycle between all 5 of the colors that are listed right here. Finally, as mentioned, it does have onboard memory, so as soon as you hit apply, what's going to actually do a quick loading screen. It's going to copy your settings directly to the keyboard, and it will save those in case you take it on the go. And finally, here's a look at that dimming and color change function. So as you can see, as the light dims out, it then switches over and changes to the next color, and this will cycle between the 5 different colors that you have chosen for your 5 color profiles. And then I also want to point out one more time that the software is still currently in development, so whereas it has the base functionality that you would expect for right now, Rosewill has promised to add additional functionality in the future, so keep an eye out for that. And that's going to be all for this video, guys. Once again, this has been the Rosewill RGB80 multicolor LED backlit mechanical gaming keyboard featuring the blue switches from Kale. I'm Paul with Newegg TV, and if you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and subscribe to the comment section down below or comment on the subscription section, whatever you want to do. We're totally happy with it, and go ahead and click the thumbs up button while you're down there too. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.